Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I don't know why I have my horror boy hangout thing on there. Let me take that off real quick. Hopefully this microphone isn't too loud. I had to get it all set up, so hopefully it's the right setting. I'll just fade that out. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know why I had my horror boy hangouts thing up. How you guys doing out there? How we hanging in there? Having a good night? Um, I know this is a bit of a random stream. This wasn't really anything planned. It was just something that I kind of wanted to do. Mainly because I seen my one of my best friends, John Grande. I mentioned a lot on my channel. I really enjoy his content. He did a really awesome Saw franchise discussion last Thursday, and it was really good. I just finished it up today, and he went through all the movies and gave his honest thoughts on all of them, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. And if he's watching, John did a great job on that. That was really cool. I know. I already let him know, Ty. I texted him, like, I don't mean to steal from you, but, him talking about Saw just really kind of made me go, I wanna talk about some Saw movies. I've never done, I did reviews, but I'm not really, I went back and I watched them. They're not really that great. So you guys are more than welcome to watch them. I'm personally not a big fan of those reviews. They just didn't turn out very good to me. I don't know if it was just the audio and the video quality, but to me, they just didn't. Right. I guess you could say that, Ty. I guess you could say that. But yeah, he did that video, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you. I think he was there when you was. Was you watching it, Ty? I think he was. Like live, he was watching it. It was a great show. I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to get on here and kind of do my version of it. Sorry, John, I stole from you. At least I admit it. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna steal it exactly. Actually, my opinions are probably gonna differ a little bit from his, so I'm not totally taking his opinions, but got inspired. I'll just say that I got inspired to do this video because I haven't really talked about the Saw movies in forever. And I haven't watched a Saw movie in a very long time. As a matter of fact, I have Saw 4 in right now. I rewatched Saw 2 earlier to kind of just get in the mood again to watch some Saw. I figured, you know what, since Spiral's coming out, why not give these live discussion with you guys? We can kind of get into it and discuss our favorites, least favorites, decent movies, undecent movies. Hey, Trenchy's here. What's up, Trenchy? How you doing, bro? Welcome to the stream. Junebug says, well, heard the rumors Bob Iger was fired from Walt Disney. It's time for Ty Romulus Nyberg to step into as chairman of the board. You are trying hard to get in there, my friend. You've been at it for a little bit now, man. I hope you can, everything goes through, man. But you got to be, I don't know, man. Disney's so... I used to love Disney as a kid. That's the thing. When I was a kid, Disney was this magical, like, thing. Like, you would watch these movies and would take you into another world. And, it'd be like an escape movie. You go into there and you watch it, and it feels like such a magical film. Whereas now Disney's become this brand. And it's like, nothing's really changed. Like, as far as their popularity, they've always been big money company. So I don't know what happened the past 10 years. But they just become this really big brand corporation, and it's become something that to me is just a shell. All they do is they've been on this trend of remaking classics and shot for shot remaking them and calling them live action. And I'm like, why are you calling them live action? They're not live action. They're still animated technically. So I wish you the best of luck in that, man. I really do. It's just the way that Disney is now. I just think you'd have a lot of politics to deal with in there, man. Unfortunately, but hopefully not. Hopefully you can get in there and help out Disney and give them some ideas and really help them create some new stuff, because just lately they've been just greedy. They've been buying everything. They've been hogging everything on Disney Plus. Like, you want to see this? You gotta watch. You gotta get on Disney Plus. I don't know why I'm doing that, but that's Disney. You guys want to watch this? You want to watch these classics? You gotta go on Disney Plus. But I don't know, man. I wish you the best of luck in that. We got Chuck here. What's up, Chuck? How you doing? How you doing? Stopped at the second one as a kid. Haven't seen the rest. You talking about Saul? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Trenchy, you're not really missing much. Hopefully, hey, I'm not ear raping you guys with this audio, Em. I'm not too close to this. I haven't used my Blue Snowball in a minute. It's a very sensitive mic, so I hope I'm not like too loud. If I am, just tell me to back up, and I'll just kind of scoot it over here. But got a new microphone for my videos, so hopefully I can get some better audio going for you guys. What sucks is you gotta be right on top of this microphone to pick up stuff. Like if I'm back here, you can barely hear me. But if I'm like right up on it, it comes through pretty clear. So it does cut back on the it used to be really loud audio for my videos, man. Disney makes good products, but they're evil. That's been kind of a theory for a while too, right? People have always been calling Disney evil. But to be honest, back in the day, Disney was just, they would create new ideas and they would do their own adaptations of stories. And I miss the old Disney because at least then it was like they put passion into it. It was creating new stuff. It was putting new things out there. And nowadays it's just, it's just rinse repeat. Let's copy what we did in the past and remake it. And I am just tired of that because everything nowadays is becoming that. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but it's becoming really, really just rinse and repeat for Disney, Just, and that with everything. I mean, horror, Disney, I just wish things would start being more original. But I guess, JG's here. And actually, speaking of JG, welcome to the stream. I was really enjoying your gameplay video. A really awesome Book of the Dead, by the way. That was really cool. I really thought that was awesome looking. And I seen your before and after. So, like, I seen that you did your little touch-ups and aged it a little bit. I loved that. That was so cool. Came out really, really good. Doing great today, Chuck. I'm doing awesome. Today was a little bit rainy. I was hoping it wasn't going to be rainy because I wanted to go do some stuff today. Like, actually go outside and do stuff. But it is what it is. I just hate how during the week it's always sunny and bright and the skies are perfect and the weekends are always gray and dark and rainy and cloudy and just depressing. Does anybody else feel like that? Or is it just me? I have a business plan I'll set in stone. Only one who I seen that is my girl and she is rich, so she's putting a bunch of Disney stocks into the company. That's good. It's always good to have a plan with that, man. They still make good stuff. Zootopia, at least original. Yeah. I think I've seen Zootopia. Do they make Sing? I've seen that one too. They can do it. I mean, they can do it. I've seen them do it. Yeah, JG, it turned out so good. Very, very good. And welcome to the stream, man. Welcome. And I guess we can get started with the Saw discussion, guys, since we got a little bit of an audience here. Probably going to get more people joining as we go along. But I wanted to get on here and discuss Saw because my good friend John Grind did a really awesome discussion about these movies. And I really was into it, and he was passionate. I could, just feel the energy coming to the screen. I mean, the dude was just really into the video, and it was a really good video. And I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on the Saw films and kind of inspired me to do my own little discussion video. So big shout out to him. He's really inspired me to make this, and, really enjoyed his video. But I wanted to just kind of give an overview on Saw. Now, growing up, watching Saw movies wasn't really like what I would do because Saw was kind of this like GTA where it's banned. Like when you're a kid, you cannot watch Saw, you cannot watch Hostel, and you cannot play GTA. It's just impossible. Back then in the 2000s, I'm a 2000s kid. So back then, if you guys don't know, it's you back then playing GTA was the hardest thing you could do because you had to hide playing that game because no parent wanted their kids playing GTA. Whereas nowadays, pretty tame compared to games coming out now. But it was GTA, God of War was a big one. And the Saw movies were always films that I couldn't watch as a kid. Like, I could watch Jason. My parents let me watch, Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. But Saw movies, I could never watch as a kid because, of how big these movies were and how known they were and how extreme they were for back then. As a kid, I mean, I really am, glad I didn't watch them because they probably would have freaked me out. Because the first really gory movie I seen was the original Evil Dead. And that movie just completely shocked me. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Yeah, I seen that when I was not young. I wasn't like 3 when I seen it. I was like, I don't know. I snuck and watched it when I was like 11 or 12. Still kind of young. Maybe 10, somewhere around there. I snuck and watched Evil Dead. And then I watched Chainsaw Massacre 2, which was another gory movie I watched as a kid. But yeah, the Saw movies, they're honestly kind of underrated nowadays. People don't really talk about them that much anymore, and they've kind of just faded out of existence. The only reason why people are talking about them maybe recently is because of Spiral. And I won't lie, I'm going to give Spiral a fair chance because it does interest me that they're doing something outside of the formula. And you guys know me. I'm always up for different stuff with films. I'm always open to them changing the formula because a lot of people are kind of half and half. Like, they don't really mind if they do something different or the same. Then there are people who want the same thing, and I'm kind of the opposite of that. I'm wanting more different stuff. You give me something different, I'm all up for that, Even if I don't like it, like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Not a really big fan of that one, but I do respect that it was different. Like, it wasn't a shot-for-shot remake. I cannot stand shot-for-shot remakes. And I hate how reboots nowadays are, they're reboots, guys. No, they're remakes. They're just disguising them as reboots. They can make more money, let's be honest. But, I really respect how this new movie is different. I'll be honest, when I first heard about it, I was like, Chris Rock, Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson drops the F-bomb in the trailer. I'm like, what is, like, and plus I was trying to figure out, okay, so is this after Saw 8 or Jigsaw? It's not Saw 8, it's Jigsaw. Is this after Jigsaw or is it after Saw the Final Chapter? Or is it going to be one of those reboots that goes, this is after the first movie, guys? How many reboots, honestly, I'm going to ask you guys that. How many reboots nowadays go, yeah, we're not going to follow the sequels. We're just going to be a sequel to the original. I'm just like, man, like, why do all the reboots nowadays ignore sequels? Like, come on. Like, their sequels are not that bad. There's actually some pretty good sequels in this series. Granted, after part 3, for me personally, it goes downhill, but, this gnat flying by my eye. Get out of my eye. But I wanted to talk about them because nobody's talking about them anymore. And my friend John did a great stream, and I was in the mood for it. And I guess we can get started with. And by the way, I don't know how long this video will be or the stream will be. I don't know if we're gonna do the whole series because there's 8 fucking movies in this franchise, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the thing. I didn't really like that either. I was like, really? You're going to just shot for shot remake that story when you could add so much to it, Remember when Disney went to that shitty direct-to-video sequel phase? Why did they go to that phase? That was so weird and random. Like, the early 2000s, there was Lion King 2. There was Mulan 2, Pocahontas 2. I think didn't they do Tarzan 2? They did a bunch of Fox and the Hound 2, which was pretty much not even a sequel. It was more of just like a retelling of the story. They called it Fox and the Hound 2. I was like, that's so random, But I remember when Disney went through that whole phase and everybody hated it. There's a few of them that I didn't mind, like Emperor's New Groove got a sequel called Kronk's New Groove. That was actually pretty all right, but such a weird time for Disney there. But to get into this video, to kick these movies off, this discussion off, I want to talk about the first movie, in my opinion, the best movie in the series, and to me will always be the best movie. I mean, this is the first one that I watched out of the Saw movies, and I'm glad because of the twist and how it is that it didn't get spoiled for me. And this was the first one I watched, and I'll be honest, this is probably my favorite one and probably the best one in the series, and that is the original 2004 Saw. Now, Saw, I remember when I first seen this movie and thinking how just different it was from other horror films. Like, as a kid, being somebody who would watch a lot of Jason movies, a lot of Freddy movies, a lot of Chucky movies, a lot of the classic slashers, I liked how this movie did a different idea, where it's not necessarily a serial killer killing people off, but it's about people put in these situations where if they don't react the right way, they die. And the idea of this killer being someone who is teaching people the value of life and really trying to get something out of these traps, not just killing them and torturing them. You know, he's trying to show them the value of their lives, to value the blessings they've been given in life, and to not do these grimy, nasty things. And the movie's plot is very basic. I mean, two people locked in a bathroom. You got Carrie Ells, and you also got Lee Winnell. To me, people roast this acting, and I think that the acting's pretty good. I never got the distance of the acting. For me, Carrie Ells does a great job. Probably one of the best jobs in the series when he's breaking down, he's crying. You know, when he has to saw his foot off, it's very emotional and it's intense and gory. I thought Lee Winnell did a pretty good job acting. People diss his acting. I don't get it. I think his acting's pretty good. He has a little bit of comedy here and there. You know, when he's in pain, you believe it. Whenever he's scared, you believe it. To me, the acting's on point. I mean, you also got Shawnee Smith in this movie from the Blob remake. She's also been in Saw 3, which is actually my favorite performance of hers. And she's also in Saw 2, but Saw 3 we'll get to. I think she does an amazing job in Saw 3. But, oh, we got Bob the Raptor here. What's up, Bob? How you doing? Oh, it's Joe. What's up, Joe? How you doing? Joe's the night owl. I noticed that. Yeah, Joe's the one that stays up late. First time you jump point, it cannot recreate the love formula first film, so it's easier to create a right sequel. True. But it's just most of the time whenever they do reboots like that, like, I hate bringing it up because I know people are huge fans of it, but that Halloween 2018 movie, I just don't get why they had to go, oh yeah, Halloween 2, that didn't happen. Halloween 4, that didn't happen. You like 4, you like 2, you like H2O, that didn't happen. None of it happened. And I'm just like, you couldn't have at least followed Halloween 2? At least. I can understand not following Halloween 5 and 6, but at least follow Halloween 2. Like, don't just rule out all the sequels because you want to be this perfect sequel. And then they put dialogue in there that's pretty much dissing Halloween 2. Isn't that the brother? No, it's just a rumor somebody made up. Really? Just going to disrespect Halloween 2 like that? You know? But I don't know. One day I gotta do a video discussing the 2018 Halloween movie again, like in-depth video with you guys, and because that movie to me is a good topic to talk about. Beer Prey, nice. What beer prey you having, man? Corona? I'm joking. Yeah, that's what they said. That they wanted to follow Halloween 2. That was the original idea, was to follow Halloween 2. I don't know why Carpenter was so against it, though. Like, even to this day, like, I can understand back in the day if you didn't like it because, like, you know, because he really didn't put a lot of effort into writing it. Even he admits that. You know, that's not even me saying that. He admits he didn't put a lot of effort into writing it. But it's like back then, but watching Halloween 2 back, that movie's got so much to it. So much to it. I think it's the closest the sequels have ever gotten to the first movie besides part 4. Like, to me, it's 2 and 4. Those are the ones that are the closest to the original movie. Everything else just feels like slasher movies, or they never... To be truthful with you guys, Halloween sequels never captured the first movie's magic. Never. Like, I don't think you could ever do that. Whereas other franchises, I feel like Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 capture that magic. I think Jaws 2 captures the magic of Jaws 1. I think Jeepers Creepers 2 does a good job at following the first movie. Wrong Turn 2. There are certain sequels that to me live up to the first movie, but for some reason, Halloween was always one that they kind of struggled to make sequels to. Like they made good sequels to. I'm not saying they're bad sequels, but they could never get that tone right. The first movie really isn't a slasher movie. It's actually, to me, one of the most mistaken horror films because it's really not a slasher movie. I mean, there are deaths in the movie, but it's not about a body count. It's not about the gore and the practical effects. It's more about suspense, and it's more about atmosphere and filmmaking. And the sequels, to me, kind of went in a route where it's like, oh, gory, bloodier, because Friday the 13th just came out, and My Bloody Valentine, all these slasher films are coming out in 1981, so they're like, we gotta make it more gory. And I'm like, I kind of wish they would have, like, at least with the 2018 one, I kind of wish they would go back to the old style. Like, the Halloween Kills Me, the goriest one. I'm like, goriest one maybe, but I don't really want a gory Halloween movie. I mean, it's nothing wrong with gore, but I want to see it go back to the roots. I want that blue lighting, that chasing, that suspense. Well, it can't be done. You know what? You get guys out here. I see young, talented filmmakers who create these movies that have suspense, like It Follows and Maniac. You can do old school suspense. You can do it. It's not impossible. You just got to make it right, But I feel like Blumhouse, they're so mainstream. They're not going to want to do that. They're going to be like, well, it's going to be boring. People won't like if it's slow and suspenseful. We're going to make it gory and over the top. I'm not complaining. I'll take it either way. I'm not complaining at all. Like I said, I don't hate Halloween 2018, but as a slasher movie, it's pretty fun. But I kind of wish they would go more into the Halloween formula. But it's not a bad movie. Yeah, I can understand that. That's definitely not for everybody. Joe said he's drinking Milwaukee's Best Ice. Nice. Exactly, JG. I think Halloween 2018 is much more of a fun slasher movie than a Halloween movie. And maybe that's why when I first seen it, I was a little rough on it because I'll be honest with you, JG, and everybody in here that's watching. I went into that movie with way too high expectations. Like, I went into that theater as a little kid. Like, I went in there, I was excited, got my popcorn, my pop, I had my Halloween t-shirt on. I went into that theater expecting the greatest movie of all time. And I really shouldn't have done that because it's not ever going to be like that again. It's just not, I kind of screwed myself over on that. But when I rewatched it again, I went under the mindset, hey, let's just have fun. And I did have fun. So it would work better that way than going into it with such high expectations, So that really helped for me. And when I go watch Halloween Kills, my expectations won't be so high. Like, they were insanely high for the new movie. And it wasn't just me. Everybody walking out that theater was kind of like, eh. I was like, what you think about the movie? It was all right. What about you? It was all right. Like, nobody was like, oh my God, clapping. We were all kind of like, it was pretty good. And even I was kind of like, yeah, it was all right. But I don't know. It's not a bad movie, so I'm going to stop complaining about it. It's not bad at all. But to get back to Saw, just love the direction in this movie. Of course, it's a very low-budget movie. Jiro, what's up? How you doing, man? Welcome. I really love the atmosphere of this movie. I think it's shot extremely well. I think James Wan, this is his first movie. Very low budget, but utilized very well. It's a very gritty movie, very atmospheric movie. The gore, I like how this one isn't really about the gore. Like, you see gore in this movie, especially in this version. This is the uncut version. The gore is there. The violence is there, but it's not about just the gore, the traps. I like that. I like how it's more about characters and this mystery aspect. Who is Jigsaw? Who is this person? And The music, of course, is on point. The classic Saw theme song is awesome. This movie was an insanely big hit when it came out. I think it made over $100 million worldwide when it came out. It was an insane hit for horror back then. And it started a new franchise. And I really enjoy this movie. I think it's great. It's the best one for me. It's got the best mystery aspect to it. Definitely has the best twist of the franchise. The first Saw, I don't really have any problem with. This is my favorite one. It's probably the most flawless Saw movie out of the bunch. It's really well made and really solid. And of course, the twist would go down in history of twist to be one of the best ones. So yeah, Saw. What would you guys rate it? I'm gonna give it probably either an 8.5 or a solid 9 out of 10. Very, very solid movie is the first Saw. You should have watched Halloween 5 before going to the theater. You'd have liked it a whole lot more. Yeah, but that's funny, man. Like, I'll honestly, if I were to put that movie in a ranking video, it would be better than Halloween 5 and be better than Rob Zombie's H2. How would I rank that? I would say I like Halloween 2 more, Halloween 3 more, Halloween 4 more. I like, that's pretty much it. I think it's better than Resurrection. I think it's better than H2O. Yes, I said it. I think H2O is lame as fuck. I know, just shattered the souls of all Halloween fans. But I have reasons for that. And one day, another stream we gotta do is an H2O stream. But I'm not a fan of H2O. I'm not a fan of Resurrection. Not a fan of H2. The Rob Zombie remake's all right, but I'll say the 2018 movie was a little bit better than that one. I would say it's like on the Halloween 6 level, where it's like it would go Halloween 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, then that movie, then everything else kind of fall down below that. I mean, at least it wasn't as bad as Resurrection. I can only imagine watching Resurrection in the theater, because that would have been just fucking... I would have been disgusted by that beginning of the movie. I don't know if anybody here seen the theaters or not, but I would have been fucking, pissed off. Was this Danny Glover's last big movie? I didn't realize that, Ty. Yeah, I'm actually pretty hyped for it. I'm going to give it a chance. I kind of learned from Halloween 2018 not to set my expectations so high for films, but I'll go into it for a fun time. I hope it's going to be fun. It looks different. I like that. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of the Saw fans aren't. Like the hardcore Saw fans, they're not looking forward to it, but I think it looks pretty damn good. Now, to get on to the second movie, this was inevitable they were going to make a sequel because the first one made so much money, and the next year it became a tradition around Halloween for Saw movies to come out. Saw 2. Oh, yes. There will be blood. Saw 2 came out like that. I like that 3D cover right there. But yeah, Saw 2 came out the next year. And this is a really close second favorite for me. This is a really awesome Saw movie. I love pretty much the same as the first movie. I love everything about it. I love the traps, the idea of this abandoned house. I love the idea of Detective Matthews having to figure out patience and learning to, wait for the timer to tick down and, just kind of Jigsaw playing games with them. I love the set design. Darren Lynn Bousman's a great director, very passionate director. The music, once again, is on point. The lighting is awesome in this movie. It's got this really crazy lighting scheme to it. A lot of yellows and browns and greens. Gives it a great atmosphere. This is without a doubt the best sequel of the bunch. This is the best one they could have gotten. It's just so original and so different from the first movie in a good way. They do their own thing. I like that. You're getting more of the world. I love the idea of these people in this house and they're breathing in this deadly nerve agent. I love the dialogue from, Tobin Bell. Tobin Bell is more in this movie than the first one. And I love his dialogue in this movie. Not long to go now till your son is pissing blood. That's the Eric Matthews they give medals to. Or you're talking to Eric Matthews, he's like, you know what the cure for cancer is? The cure for cancer. I don't know, but it's not torturing people for your own sick need. He's like, I never killed anybody in my life. The decisions are up to them. And I can just go on and on. The dialogue's really memorable. I love that scene where he goes like, your son will begin to bleed out of every orifice in his body. Oh, yes. There will be blood. But yeah, it's got great filmmaking in there. Darren Lynn Bousman's a very competent director. He's a very passionate director. It's gory as all hell. I mean, you have the razor blade trap. You have the, just to me, probably the most disturbing death scene in the movie for me. Some would say the furnace death scene, which is pretty crazy. Some would say the needle pit death scene, which really isn't a death scene. It's more just a torture scene, I guess you could say, because she doesn't die. But someone to the gunshot. To me, the most disturbing death scene, the one that was most effective for me, was when the girl dies from the gas and she starts shaking and spitting up blood. That just creeped me out for some reason. Just creeped me out. But yeah, you have a lot of classic scenes, like when he turns the key, blows his brains out on the other side of the door. I love how they tie in this house in this movie, because when they go underground, they find the bathroom from the first movie. I like that. That's so cool. Yeah, Saw 2. I'm kind of going through them pretty fast because they're really basic movies. You know, the traps are on point. I love the story of Matthews. Of course, Donnie Wahlberg playing Matthews does a great job at playing this guy who is not necessarily a good guy, but he tries his best to stay relevant until he snaps, and then it's all over. But the twist is awesome. The if I had any flaws, it would probably be the Saw movies. Voice crack, hashtag voice crack. But the Saw movies have always had this weird editing style that, to me, as a younger person watching these movies, it didn't really bother me. Nowadays, I don't know if it's just because it doesn't age well, but I'm not a fan of the whole sped up filmmaking where they speed up the camera and they do these wacky over the top stuff with the cameras and flashes and speed up lenses and zoom in. I'm not a fan of that, and the sequels do it more and more often than the first one. Like here, it annoyed me a little bit, but not as bad as, like, say, Saw 5 and 4 and 6. I'm frightened. Sorry about that. I don't know why my computer, it always waits till I'm live and then the internet just kicks off. I do not get why that happens. I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Am I back? Can you guys hear me? Am I coming in loud and clear? I'm sorry about that, guys. I do not know why it does that. It always waits till I'm streaming. Always, always, always. Grande, what's up, my man? I want to play a game. We're talking about Saw 2 right now, man. I was telling them I'm not plagiarizing you, I promise. I'm homaging you. I'm paying tribute to Mr. Grande. But by the way, he did an awesome stream, guys. Amazing stream talking about these movies. So amazing that I said, you know what? I want to watch Saw 2. And I got Saw 4 in right now. I'm probably going to watch Saw 3. I don't know, maybe Saw 6. We'll see. So, John, if you're listening, your stream was amazing. But yeah, to end on Saw 2, to me, it's a really solid sequel. I really enjoy it. The needle pit scene. Oh, no problem, man. Not a problem at all, man. Really, really enjoy your stream, man. And welcome Aiden and Corey. We got Corey here. We got Grande here. We got Art Wishwood here. What's up, man? Welcome, welcome. We got Chuck. We got everybody up in here. We're having a good old party tonight, guys. What's up? But the needle pit scene was really cool. And I guess that was real needles. Not like where it could hurt her, but they actually had to go through and take out the needles and individually put them in there. And it was something like over 100,000 needles. Can you imagine being the guy who was doing that? We're going to pay you. To do what? If we work on the Saw movie. Saw movie? What am I going to be doing? Here's some syringes. Take the needles out of them. What the fuck? I can only imagine that guy's face when they told him that. We're going to pay you to make prop needles. But yeah, the atmosphere, the green, yellow, brown look. I love that look. I love certain characters, like the tough guy of the movie, the kind of badass, guys you could say, asshole dude. Yeah, we're coming up with a game plan. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. You know? And you hear that? It's a house. Plaster, not a fucking fortress. I love that guy. I love the brutal ending where he's cutting the number off the back of his head. So good. Rewatching this again was so fun. The Venus flytrap death was pretty intense. The gore's on point. Overall, Saw 2, it's a close second favorite for me. It's a very close second favorite. It's up in the first movie's level for me. It's a very well done sequel. I really enjoy Saw 2. I'm going to give it probably an 8 out of 10. What's your guys' rating for it? 8 out of 10 for me. Now, of course, Saw 2's ending is going to be Saw 2 ended with Amanda. She is going to be taking over. Shawnee Smith's character is going to be taking over Jigsaw's place when he dies. So there was plenty of room for a sequel. Nice. Now, 9 out of 10, man. Yeah, I think Donnie Wahlberg does great in horror movies. I wish he'd do more. Hasn't Mark Wahlberg done more than Donnie? Like, as far as horror movies go? I mean, I know he did The Happening. I know he did another one. Did he not? Did he only do The Happening? Which people are like, that's not a horror movie, it's a comedy. I guess you could say it's a comedy. It's pretty fucking hilarious. Just don't want you to worry. I respect you. I want you to know this. I'm talking to a fake plant, ain't I? Funny movie. He says, I'm upstate with a bunch of friends, drinking Mountain Dew until dawn. Hope is going Gucci Nigor. That is awesome, John. Glad you're having a fun time. It's having a fun weekend, man. I wish it didn't rain. I wanted to go out and do stuff today, but I couldn't. But, of course, Saw 2 made a fucking shit ton of money, and they made this one. And this is one that I am really a big fan of. This movie, to me, is underrated, and I know John doesn't really like this movie very much. I can understand why. I do have issues with it. But for me, what really saves this movie is the story. Like, I really love the story. But I will admit this. This is when we get into the flaws of the series. This is when, like, This is the first one where I can say, yeah, I have some issues with it. But I still really enjoy the sequel, and that is, of course, Saw 3, Suffering. You haven't seen anything yet. Now, Saw 3, I remember when I first watched this one, thinking it was pretty brutal. Like, the death scenes were insanely crazy and gory. This is definitely the one that ramped up the gore. Like, this is a pretty insane movie as far as gore and effects go. But I really enjoy Saw 3. I know I gave it some crap in the past, but I really enjoy the sequel. I think this is the last, in my opinion, really solid Saw movie. After this, it kind of went downhill for me. But I love the traps in this movie. The box trap, which you guys know what I mean. First of all, that shit was beautiful. Second of all, horrifying trap. And I don't know why, but just the way they filmed it, it really made you feel cold. Like, I don't know about you. I know it sounds stupid, but when you're watching that scene, it gives me I'm like, I'm cold just watching this movie, man. You know, I'm just shivering watching this scene. It's just horrifying. But I love the icebox trap. I love the rack, which is an insane trap where a guy gets his limbs twisted. The trap where the pigs get chopped to a million pieces and turned to goop. And the story to me is what said this movie. Now, if there's any problems for me, it's hashtag elbow cough. But if there's any problems for me, it's probably the pacing. It is a little bit more of a slower Saw movie to me. It's 121 minutes long. It could have been easily an hour and a half. I will admit that. I'll be the first one to admit that. Could have easily been an hour and a half. There's a certain points in the movie where it's a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking, not much going on. To me, the acting is pretty good, but the cast compared to the first two was like, you know. The Jeff character, the lead, could have been improved. I will admit that. As far as everything else goes, I really enjoy the sequel. I think it's got some really intense scenes, and I love the idea of Shawnee Smith being sort of this troubled character, and she's dealing with things. Now, I will admit, I hate the idea of, well, she's not worthy. She won't carry it on. Then the next apprentice isn't worthy. And somehow some guy, some jabroni in part 8, the third apprentice, no, fourth, actually, they didn't explain in Untitled Chapter what happened to those 8 people in pig mask. Who were those people? What happened to Carrie Ells? What is going on? I'm looking too far into it, but I'm like, damn. He had Shawnee Smith. He had the guy from 5. He had that guy from part 8. He had Carrie Ells. He had 4 people behind, which they've never explained in the Saw series why those 4 people are there. Wendigo, what's up, man? Been a minute since I heard from you, man. How you doing? But you were actually really pissed at Saw 3. I was like, wow, he is really pissed right now. It's not really for everybody. It's probably the slowest paced Saw movie. It's really heavy on dialogue and really heavy on people just in rooms talking. And I will admit that's probably some of the worst stuff because it's just, like I said, the characters really aren't as interesting in this movie, and the dialogue really isn't anything special. So when you're having 21 minutes, and a lot of it is dialogue, The first movie was in a bathroom, and it was just, to me, it went by in a flash. But this movie kind of dragged a little bit. But I like the idea of Shawnee Smith's character kind of dealing with these things, and I think her performance really sells it, and I like how she is a very unstable character, and she pulled it off for me. I thought her performance, this is my favorite Shawnee Smith performance in this movie because of just how intense she is and how she's into it and the way she delivers her lines. Just a very dark and menacing character in this movie. I thought it was a very, interesting way to go with this character. But yeah, I liked that. I liked the death scenes and the gore. I liked the idea of Jeff's character having to give up his revenge. Learn about your revenge. What are you willing to do to save these people? Are you going to let them die? Or are you going to save them? I like that. I like the idea behind the character Jeff and what happened in the past. I thought Tobin Bell's performance was amazing in this movie. His dialogue is still there. It's still really awesome. At this point, Jigsaw is almost dead. But I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's still great. Despite is that even a fucking word? Despite its flaws, I do like the atmosphere, the way it's shot. It's a very dark and grim movie, like insanely dark. Did Darren Lynn Bousman? Yeah, Darren Lynn Bousman directed this movie too. Probably the darkest Saw atmosphere. This and Part 4, like the darkest tones. Just the set designs and the way it's shot, very dimly lit. Everything is rusty and grimy and disgusting. I love the way it looks. It has a good look to it. The ending was all right. The twist was okay. Overall, Saw 3, I'm going to give it a 7. Not as good as Saw 2. Definitely not as good as Saw 1. But I do feel like it is still pretty damn good sequel. Do really enjoy Saw 3. And actually, when I got this DVD, I couldn't believe I found this. But I don't know if this is real or not, but it's actually an individual piece of the reel from Saw 3. It's that shot right there. Figured I'd show that. And it's limited too, so I just bought this DVD for so cheap. It was like $1. So to find that in there, I was like, holy crap, But yeah, Saw 3, 7.5 out of 10. Well, 7 for me. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for me. The Saw 3. Doing all right. Still no Wi-Fi up here. Hope to get back to normal soon. Haven't to stream movies either. Oh, that sucks, man. Hopefully you can get some Wi-Fi back soon, man. Rip Wilford Brimley. I rest in peace to him. What happened? Wilford Brimley? Oh, man. Rest in peace to Wilford Brimley. That sucks. Damn. That sucks. Aiden says Shawnee Smith was really good in Saw 3, but I fucking hate what they did to her character. Questionable. It's questionable. It's either way for me. I like the idea of her breaking down, but at the same time, I don't know why they did that. Why they couldn't just have Shawnee Smith be the new character. I don't know why they couldn't make her Jigsaw. I don't know why. But I do think it's her best acting performance. I will stand by that. And of course, Saw 3 was a big hit. So the very next year, 2007, I believe, which is a movie I'm watching right now, Saw 4 came out. Saw 4. This isn't the last one to be made by Darren Lynn Bousman. I don't think it is. Yeah, it is. So he didn't direct anything else after this. But did he make? No. This is Darren Lynn Bousman's last Saw movie he directed. And Saw 4 is, to me, where the series kind of loses me. This one's good. Like, I don't know. It's a watchable, gory movie, if that makes any sense. This is the point in the series where they're trying to say, oh, here's another apprentice. And I'm like, wow, really? And found out it's Hoffman. I'm like, Hoffman? Like, what? And I don't know. I would prefer Shawnee Smith over Hoffman. I mean, the guy didn't do a bad job acting. It's just Hoffman as a character really isn't much to him. At least in this movie. Like, maybe Saw 5 is where he's fleshed out, but like, and I feel like Saw 5 was made for that. Like, they're like, well, shit, we got to make a movie where he fleshed out this character because the last movie, he didn't really have any scenes. So we're going to make Saw 5. We can make a quick buck. We can flesh out his character. This is an excuse to make another sequel. But Hoffman being Jigsaw, I'm kind of so on. Because in this movie, he's like a very equal Jigsaw with equal traps. But then the next couple movies, he's murdering people. They kind of go all over the place with it. The story really isn't much in this movie. I mean, you have the SWAT team commander Rig. It's his game. And basically they're trying to teach him that he can't save everybody. And really, all these traps, he couldn't even save these people. It wasn't really up to him. So the movie is about him trying to pretty much, learn that he can't save everybody. And it wasn't really a great excuse for a game. Like, this guy is what? He's really protective over people. He cares about people, so he's put in a game. I don't know. I mean, I can watch it for the death scenes. Like, it is gory as fuck. I do love the way it's filmed. Again, Hoffman's direction, I think, is really solid. I like the atmosphere of it. Once again, it's a very dark, grimy, disgusting movie with some great sets, and I love how it looks. I love how it's made. The acting isn't really bad per se, but where it loses me is just the story to me. There's not much to the story. It's really at this point getting old, and I would say it's more for the gore. You want to watch it for the gore, you can have fun with the gore. I like the idea of Jigsaw having this tape in his stomach. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Saw 4. I'm going to give it it's going to be sounding pretty low. Probably a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10 for me. Not terrible, not great. I'm not the biggest fan of Saw 4. And this is when it really goes downhill for me. But Saw 4, it's an okay movie. Has good things going for it, I will say. Like the gore and brutality of it and the just disgusting atmosphere of it. And it's miles better than this next one. Of course, once again, same sort of different day. Big hit, made a lot of money. They wanted more. So they decided to make one of my least favorites in the series, Saw 5. And I'm not a fan of this one. To me, this is when it really is going downhill. Like, this is Saw 4 is like, all right, the slope is there, but it's like not that bad. Like, the slope is there, it's going downhill, but it's kind of on an arc. This movie, it's like this comes out and it goes, it just goes downhill for me. As I am not a fan of Saw 5. Why? This is the most boring Saw movie of them all, and it's 96 minutes long. Now, yes, Saw 3 is the longest Saw movie, I believe. I believe it is. But this one felt even twice as much as boring, because I didn't care about anything in this movie. I didn't care about the story, about pretty much them explaining Hoffman, and it's really obvious they were like, well, nobody knows who Hoffman is. So if we make Saw 5, it can be the movie where they explain his backstory. It was probably the best part of the movie. Like, the flashbacks to me save it a little bit as far as it not being total crap. And, like, the gore stuff too. But, like, my favorite parts of this movie are the flashbacks. With him and Jigsaw. And there's a scene where there's a pendulum trap. And Jigsaw's like, you didn't give him a chance to live. You murdered him. Like, you didn't see the blood. You didn't see what he fucking did to her. Killing is distasteful. To me, there's a better, more efficient way. I love that stuff. That stuff, to me, I just was like, why is the whole movie not this stuff? Because it was interesting to me. Instead of making Saw 5 after part 4, how about this? Make Saw 5 in between, like, 1 and 4. You're seeing Hoffman's early days, him being shown the traps and how to do it. It would be different. It would be refreshing. You could still have traps, still have gore. Jigsaw says, Hoffman, I want you to do your first game. And you're seeing Hoffman's first game. That would have been really cool and interesting to do. I'd be like, that's a refreshing idea. Have it in between the first movie and the fourth movie. and you're seeing Hoffman getting trained. I love that stuff in this movie, but unfortunately, it's only a small part of this movie. The rest of it is this character Strom trying to figure out who Jigsaw is. We already know who Jigsaw is, so it's already boring. I did not care for the way this movie was shot, how it looked. It has this really awful look to it. David Hackle made this movie. I think he did production design on the first 4 movies, and maybe this one too. I don't know if he did production design, but I know he did in the first 4 movies. And he tried his best. I mean, he didn't do a bad job in this movie, but it's really just one that they didn't put a lot of effort into. It's, there's 5 characters. They got to go through room to room, and it's the lamest traps. To me, this is some of the lamest traps with CGI. They electrocute this girl in this bathtub, or these nail bombs go off, or one person gets pulled back and a CGI head falls off. The ending is probably the only good traps is the pendulum trap, which was a pretty good one, pretty intense. The ending trap of the saw blades was probably the best one, and then the end of the movie where Strom gets crushed to death. It is ultimately a movie that doesn't have much going on in it. I do like this idea as well, the cube, where it's not really bloody. It's more about him drowning. I like that idea of the death or a trap because he doesn't die, but it's a good idea for a trap. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. I'm not a fan of Saw 5. It's boring. It's slow. It's got a gray, dull, lifeless look to it. All the characters' dialogue sounds the same. It feels like a really bad CSI episode or a Law and Order episode. A lot of it is just police talking and trying to figure out what's going on. Strom, not a bad actor or character, just didn't get to do much in this movie, He's just running around, finding these traps, and figuring out that Hoffman is Jigsaw. I'm like, well, we already know that. But Saw 5, 4 out of 10 for me. Not a fan of it. Believe me, there are worse films in this series, but this is one of the worst ones. This is when it really gets bad for me, is Saw 5. So yeah, Saw 5, 4 out of 10 for me personally. Next up is weird, because in franchises like this, where you have Saw 3 kind of going downhill, Saw 4 a little bit more, Saw 5 is plummeting right now. Saw 5 is taking this franchise to the fucking grave. Then this comes out. Saw 6, 2009, probably the lowest. This and Jigsaw are the lowest grossing Saw movies. This one takes that downward flow and goes, all right, go up a little bit. Does that. Because this isn't a bad movie at all for me. I like Saw 6. I like it. Is it flawless? No. I love 8 Saw movies. Spiral. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I can't wait for Spiral, man. Yeah, I agree. Just not for me. But Saw 6 is pretty decent. It still has its flaws here and there, like the pacing, the way it looks, the characters, the story really isn't that great. But I really enjoy it for what it is. It's a fun kind of slasher version of the first couple of movies. It's taken this formula and saying, you know what, let's just have some carnage. Let's have some fun. And I like it. I like Saw 6. At this point, you're wondering, okay, they bring in Amanda as the new Jigsaw in Saw 2. Then in Saw 3, they say, nah. Okay. Saw 4, they bring in Hoffman. By this point, he's murdering people. He's killing people. He's stabbing people, killing people, murdering people in cold blood. Now, if you know Jigsaw and how he does his games, that goes against anything that John Kramer had taught him. So now Hoffman is this generic. They took the interesting, intriguing idea of Jigsaw, and they said, no, he's just a serial killer now. He can kill people with a knife. He's a psychopath. I'm not a fan of the direction for me. If you're gonna have Hoffman be the new lead, I'm not a fan of it that much, but at least go for it. At least go for the moon, you know? And this is the point in the story where it's like, really, Jigsaw had a plan for Hoffman. I think that Hoffman was ready, and he also had a plan for Amanda, and he also has a plan for the guy in this movie. I'm like, Jigsaw did all of this, and he knew Carrie Ellis was gonna be I'm like, this is when the story really starts to get ridiculous for me. And like, you're telling me he planned out all that stuff in Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8 when he's already dead. He planned all this out, and this is when the story really starts to get irritating for me. I'm like, what? But I will say, this movie is pretty fun. There are some great death scenes. You have a person get hung by a noose that's made out of barbed wire. The lead guy gets melted by acid, which is pretty crazy. Probably the most infamous one is the carousel death scene where people are getting shot by a shotgun going round and round in this thing. Pretty iconic for this movie. And I think it's directed very well. Like, there are certain points that look pretty good. I'm going to give it a 6 for Saw 6. Really enough, just a 6. It's kind of an average movie for me. Nothing fantastic, but for the gore, for the shock value, for just the special effects and the fun tone, you know, I think Saw 6 is a fun Saw movie. Harmless, decent, so to say. So Saw 6, I'm going to give it a solid 6. You killed my father, motherfucker. That dude was going to be in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, believe it or not, as Roderick. And I'm pretty sure he would go on to be in other things too. Like, I know he would go on to be in other movies. Sorry, I'm being here for a second. Saw 6 ending is pretty... Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty bloody. I'm just not a fan of like how they say that Hoffman is this villain now. And I'm just like, really? What? And again, Saw 6 isn't bad. It is miles better. These last two movies, I'm letting you guys know, are pure dog crap for me. Pure dog crap. It's them going, hey, let's make some money, and that's it. No care put in these last two movies. And I'm going to skim through them because I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about them because they're just horrible. But first up, we have Saw 7, a.k.a. Saw 7 The Final Chapter, a.k.a. Saw 3D, a.k.a. Saw The Final Chapter, a.k.a. Saw 7 The Final... Did I already say that? Saw 7 or Saw 3? Yeah, I already saw it. Has like 1,000 subtitles in this movie. I am not a fan of this movie. To me, it is the most generic, bland, awful Saw movie. Like, this and Jigsaw, the same problems. Same fucking problems. First of all, again, very boring movie. Why? Because you don't even have good special effects in this movie. Or good traps. They're lame as hell in this movie, man. Lame as hell. What's up, Devin? How you doing? Is that Master of Fear, Devin? How you doing, man? And this is the final chapter. This is the last one. This is how you go out. This is their plan to end the franchise. This shitty movie. It is shitty. First of all, the 3D gags are awful. They're CGI, eyeballs and intestines going to the screen. Looks like shit. The CGI in this movie is unacceptably bad. The CGI in this movie is some of the worst CGI I've seen in a horror movie in a long, long time. Pitiful CGI. The traps are generic. generic as fuck in this movie. One is the lead guy's in the cage, and if he doesn't react fast enough, he falls into spikes. One girl and a guy are on the ceiling. She kicks him. He falls into a bunch of fans. One guy gets hung. That's literally it. Just him getting hung. One is a girl is in this trap, and there are these like metal pipes and stuff going to go into her eyes and gouge her eyes out and stuff. The ending is a really stupid one because it's kind of unwinnable. Because he's supposed to put hooks through his biceps and pull himself up. Or not his biceps, his right here. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. Right here, like in his chest area, I think. It's in his chest area, right, guys? I think he puts like right through his chest. He's supposed to put these hooks through his chest and pull himself up to the top of this machine. I'm thinking, how is he going to pass this? How is it possible? You tell me how it's possible. This man he's going to pull his entire body weight on his chest. And the girl dies in this furnace. The only death scene that was halfway decent was this girl has a key on her insides, and he has to have it. Well, the key is already in her mouth. It's like down her inside, but there's a hook, like a fishing hook on the end of that key. And he has to pull it out of her insides and blood squirting out. Probably the only practical looking death scene. And he has to cover her mouth because she screams too much. This machine will kill her. But okay, that was a decent death scene. But everything else in this movie, fucking lame. CGI is lame. Characters are nothing. The twist is lame as fuck because it makes no sense. It makes no sense, man. The twist is that Carrie Ells is helping out Jigsaw. And I'm over here thinking, okay, it's not just Carrie Ells because there are 4 guys behind him with pig masks on, so obviously they're helping him too. And they disappear in the next fucking movie. Like, this series does not know where it's going. At this point, it does not know what it wants to be. The story is on fucking autopilot. Because you have Hoffman in this movie, complete psychopath, has a slasher look to him because he has this fucked up cheek. His main goal is to kill Jigsaw's wife because she knows about him, which I'm surprised she wouldn't tell them that's Hoffman. Or maybe they know it's Hoffman. I think they're after Hoffman in this movie. Like, he's on the run. But horrible fucking movie. I'm not spending more time on this movie because it's lame as fuck. To me, 3 out of 10. And I'm usually very chill with film, but this movie, to me, is just horrible. Saw Final Chapter, 3 out of 10 for me. This one is even fucking worse for me. Now, I did a review on this movie, and I was very lenient on it. This and Phantasm Ravager, those are 2 movies, and Leatherface, another one too. And Call of Chucky. Damn, I was very lenient on movies back then, but like this and Call of Chucky, Leatherface, and Phantasm Ravager, I was really soft in this movie during my review. I rewatched this again. This is the last one, Jigsaw. This movie is fucking horrible to me because it does everything so generically. Nothing new, nothing original, no cool ideas. To me, my idea for a Saw movie, and I don't care if they take it. At this point, take my idea. I want to see it done in the movie. Here's the idea for a new Saw movie. This shit is generic. It's people getting in traps again. The traps suck ass in this movie. The effects suck ass in this movie. The logic sucks ass in this movie. And the story sucks ass. Everything in this movie fucking sucks, in my opinion. Because it is the same fucking thing done again. It's people in traps, lame traps, and cops once again finding out who Jigsaw. I'm like, did we not do this already? Saw 5, Saw 4, Saw 6, Saw 7, Saw 3. Like, come on. Like, you have the rest of the franchise of the same fucking thing, and it's done in this movie a fucking again. I will agree with my friend John Grande on this. This is the worst fucking Saw movie. This is the worst one because it's taking the original Saw movies and making them even more dumber. Like making it a stupid, dumb version of Saw. Where it's about 2 steps away of being a parody of itself. It really is. There are points in this movie where I'm like, this could be a spoof if it really wanted to be. It's that fucking bad. And it's just, the story goes absolutely nowhere. The new Jigsaw for me is nothing. There's nothing there. But yet he's the chosen one. I'm like, why? Who is this guy? I don't know anything about this guy. Who is he? You know? The characters are all forgettable. I don't remember any of these characters. No dialogue. Tobin Bell's in the movie, but he doesn't really get to do much in this one. I mean, I get it. His character is dead in this movies. But oh, Jesus. No wonder this fucking movie sucked. They wrote that piece of shit. Still hate that fucking movie. I swear to God, if I could find that rant one day, I will re-upload that, or I'll read you that rant. That movie fucking sucks. I hate Sorority Row, the remake. Shitty. Same problem as this. Dumb-ass fucking characters. The look of the movie is generic, dull, direct-to-video. This movie went to theaters. Think about how many horror movies don't go to theaters nowadays. How many good ones don't go to theaters? But yet this fucking movie made to theaters. This is a theatrical film, and it looks like a direct-to-video fucking cheap-ass looking movie with no atmosphere, nothing to it. Even the music in this movie is lame. And that usually is something that's good in every single Saw movie. Even the music, the editing, the look of the movie. I hate it how it looks. Just to me, the worst one. Terrible. And you know it was bad because when it came out, it bombed critically and financially. And when it came out on DVD, it was on the bargain bin for $5, maybe $3. I don't remember. That's how bad it was. Bargain bin as soon as it comes out. Bargain bin horror film. Jigsaw, I'm going to make that up. Bargain bin horror film. For me. Bargain bin film of the month, you know, type of thing. Where it's in there, it's out of there type thing. It's just terrible, man. And they don't explain anything in the ending of Saw 7. Like Saw 7, the way it ends, I'm like, okay, Hoffman's going to die. What happened to Carrie Ells? Why are there 5 people behind him? Why is there a new apprentice in this movie? What is going on here? Like, where is the story going? It has no fucking clue. But I will say this. To me, what I would do for a sequel, if they approach me and do a sequel, to at least write a script for a sequel or to come with an idea for a sequel, to me, I had an idea for a minute there that I was thinking, like, all right, if I had an idea to pitch for a sequel, I would pitch this. Make it to where a crazed, insane psychopath is homaging Jigsaw. And the Jigsaw guy from this movie, the guy who ends up being Jigsaw in this movie, has to figure out who this guy is. Because this guy is giving people 0 chances. He is murdering people in cold blood. Jigsaw in this movie has to figure out who it is. In the process, the guy who's the new Jigsaw in this movie gets kidnapped. And he gets put into a game. And the psychopath Jigsaw guy knows that he is Jigsaw. And it could be him using his wit and saying, you know, you might not want to do that because he also makes traps. So it'd be a battle of the wits. Jigsaw versus Jigsaw. Think about that. The evil maniac, 0 chances Jigsaw puts him and another group of people in a building, and they got to get from point A to point B, and they got to go through traps. And when they live, when they die, it's, you know, up to... Really, you can make it to where the new Jigsaw is more of a chance guy. You know, you may have a chance to survive, may not, kind of random kind of guy. You know, maybe you will live, maybe you won't. We'll see. You know, I won't let it up to you. We'll see what fate brings to you. You know, the evil Jigsaw, and then you're going to have, well, this guy's also an evil Jigsaw, but have the guy from this movie help out the survivors, trying to help them through the traps. but he realizes this guy's unhinged. And the end of the movie, you could have it be a twist. You know, somebody from the past movies is the evil Jigsaw. You know, that's my idea. Maybe it sounds stupid. I don't know. But that was the first thing that came to my mind when thinking, hey, something different and fresh and new. Let's make that. How about that? I just was pitching that out there. At this point, do it. I want to see it be done. If you want to take it, Hollywood. You can do it. I don't care. It's, to me, it'd be an interesting idea. If you do it right, it could be an interesting idea. But I'm not a fan of Jigsaw. It's, for me, 2 out of 10. I'm not a fan of it. It's horrible, awful shit. Its ending is terrible. I'm not a fan of the way the story is going through these movies. And I hope Spiral fixes this movie's story. Like, I hope it picks up from, like, the final chapter or something, like, disregards this movie, because I don't know where storyline is going in this movie. But anyways, guys, I hope it made you guys laugh towards the end there. It was pretty fun, but that's pretty much my thoughts on the Saw films. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. You guys were awesome. I've been reading you guys' comments. Probably not out loud. Oh, Tyrese Daniels, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. But anyways, it's gonna be pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Jigsaw sucks. Horrible fucking movie. And hopefully Spiral's a good movie. I'm hoping so. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. This has been a blast to do. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. And more videos will be coming soon. But anyways, guys, thanks for being here. And I'll see you guys later. The Explorer of Horror is out. Peace.